Hey, how you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman, best-selling author, certified life coach, and founder of GodOrdainedMarriage.com. Today, we're going to answer one of our God Ordained spouse question. She sent in via the God Ordained Marriage website. Okay. Now, listen, if you have a question you would like for me to answer on the channel, head over to GodOrdainedMarriage.com. Click on the tab that says contact us, and you can send me your question from over there. Hey, Sylvester, thanks for joining us this morning. So, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like this video as well, and share this with someone else, okay? Another God ordained spouse. Hey, Gigi, good morning. So again, I'm answering one of our God ordained spouse question. Hey, Pure Glam, aka Olivia. Hey, she's faithful. Thank you all for joining this morning. Y'all are up early, okay? You're up early this morning. So, before I get started, for those of you who do not already know, our dream interpretation class is kicking off the last Tuesday of this month. If you want to learn how to interpret your dreams, you want to learn, if God is giving you dreams of your God ordained spouse, and you want to learn what God is trying to communicate to you in your dream, sign up for our dream interpretation class over at godordainedmarriages.com/dream class. Okay. So let's jump into her question. Okay. It reads, how do you get your life back on track after a failed relationship with a potential or God ordained potential spouse? The failing of the relationship was not completely my fault, but on my part. I did not be obedient to the separation and the fact that I was willing to stay with someone who was clearly not ready for me. I ended up getting hurt, and now he is married to the person that was one of the issues in our relationship, going back and forth between us two. We have a child together now, and we have to interact. So I am often reminded that he abandoned and rejected me and my son. Excuse me. I have days when I am fine, and I have other days when the pain hits me more severely. It has been years since the final breakup, and I am ready to move completely forward. He used he used to complain a lot to me about his marriage, but I shut that down earlier this year because I thought it was disrespectful to me and his current spouse. To sum it all up, how do I get my life back on track and not fluctuate in the healing process? Thank you for your response. Okay, so thank you for sending in your question. Hey, Nisha, thank you for joining. All right, so let me turn on this light. Okay, here we go. So again, thank you for sending in your question. So how do you get your life back on track after a failed relationship with a potential or God ordained potential spouse? Well, number one, let me just commend you for shutting it down when he was trying to complain to you about the marriage he chose. Okay, so I commend you for shutting that down. It was very disrespectful, to you and to his marriage, and to his wife, to even complain, okay, to you about the very thing he chose. So you did a great job in that area. Um, I also want to state, when we talk about these God ordained the spouses, they can't be a potential, okay? Mm-mm. See, you got to understand, and I know what you mean in here. You're like, this person could have been a potential God ordained spouse, but understand what God ordained spouse mean, okay? Because in the Bible, it tells us that God knows the purpose and plans He has for us, right? He got plans to prosper us, plans to give us a good hope, a good future, right? And so God has already written out your life story. He already assigned, okay, a specific person to your life before you were born. Okay, it said what is the scripture? Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you, right? He already set you apart. He already, mapped out your life for you, right? And God has already chosen a spouse specifically for you. Okay, so There's no such thing as a potential God ordained spouse. I just wanted to say that, okay? Because you're not the first person to say potential God ordained spouse. No, um, God has someone specifically for you, okay? Now, let's get into how do you get your life back on track after this failed relationship. So the part of your life that is on hold is up here in your thoughts. Is the unanswered questions, right? Is like you were saying, the abandonment and the rejection. Um, when you see this man, you it sounds like you're getting triggered, right? So the part of your life that we got to get unstuck and begin to move forward is what's going on up here. Okay. Now you start off by saying um, that you was not obedient to the separation. Okay. The first step in how we begin to get our life back on track after a failed relationship, we must begin to learn the lessons from that failed relationship so that I don't repeat it again, right? Hey, Radiant Son, thanks for joining us this morning. I got to learn, and hey, Melissa, thanks for joining us this morning. I have to learn the lessons from this previous relationship so that I don't repeat the same mistakes, I done in the past, right? Into this new thing that God is doing, that what God is giving me, right? So you said you wasn't obedient to the separation, and as a result of you not being obedient to the separation, you found yourself tolerating a back and forth relationship. So I want you to ask yourself, why did I tolerate, this back and forth relationship? Why did I tolerate it? If you say something like, because I loved him, okay, well, it's love back and forth. Is that how love looks, right? We got to begin to understand why we tolerate the things we tolerate, right? When I say I love this person, okay, but what this person is clearly giving me isn't love. So I got to look within and ask myself, am I rooted on the right foundation of love, right? Do I have the correct perspective around what love is? Because love isn't back and forth. It's not, you know. Love is consistent. Love chooses you, okay? It's not wavering in the mind, okay? It's consistent. It take care of its responsibility. It's sure of you, okay? This is what love is. So I need you to answer, for yourself, not here, but answer, like, why did I tolerate this? Why did I allow the back and forth, okay? I got to learn the lessons, because as I'm learning the lessons from this failed relationship, right? Now I'm moving into what Isaiah 61 verse 3 talks about. It say, Isaiah 61 verse 3 say, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. When I learned the lessons of why I tolerated that, I know not to do it again. So I just turned that ash, okay, into a beauty. I know not to repeat that again, right? This is how I take what the devil meant for evil and turn it into something good, because I'm learning from it. And as I'm learning from it, I'm growing from it, right? I'm becoming better, right? So that's number one. And it's more in here. Let me look at my notes. And also, because you did identify that you wasn't obedient to the separation. So when God places us, and see, divine separation, it goes beyond just a God ordained love story. Let me just say that, because sometimes God will put us in a divine separation with our family. He would cause a divine separation to happen with our friends or so-called friends, right? So it's not just limited to a God ordained marriage. No, divine separation, when God say leave, like how he told Abraham to leave Lot, separate yourself from him, because God was trying to elevate Abraham. But that elevation couldn't come while he was connected to Lot, right? So learn from this, okay? The next time when I'm seeing the signs that a separation is happening, okay, I have to learn from this, because if I stay where God is trying to create a separation, I'm going to end up getting hurt. The same way how you said I ended up getting hurt, and now he is married to the person, okay, that was basically an issue in your relationship. So I got to learn the lesson from this disobedience to divine separation. I got to get understanding, okay? And I also got to learn the lesson from why did I tolerate this back and forth relationship, okay? And then also, you stated in your email, you said I was willing to stay with someone who was clearly not ready for me. We're going to learn from this because we no longer tolerate people who are no longer ready for you. So I need you to ask yourself, what are the signs that indicate a man isn't ready for me? This is how we learn the lessons and we don't find ourselves back in these counterfeit relationships. What are the signs when I meet this man? And if you're a man watching in, what are the signs when I meet this woman that indicates to me they're not ready for me? Okay. I did this with myself a couple of years ago because I noticed a pattern. I was choosing guys to date who would come into my life and date, and the first thing that would come out their mouth is, I don't want a relationship. But yet I gave them my time. I gave them my number, right? I gave them 2 children, right? Only for it to end in not a relationship, right? And so I said, okay, this is a clear indicator that this person, when I hear these words from a man, I don't want a relationship, or they might say it a different way. Relationships are not for me, or marriage isn't for me. If I hear any of these things coming out of a man's mouth, that is my indication that he is not ready for me. This is Mr. Wrong. This isn't the one. Don't entertain it, right? So you have to know for yourself, okay, what are the signs for me to know that a man isn't ready for me so that I don't allow this man, the next man, to waste my time? I got to know the signs, okay? So, like I said, the first step in this process on how you get your life back on track, I got to learn the lesson from this failed relationship, okay? And don't see failure as failure, because when you learn the lessons, right, it's helping you to get better. It's helping you to grow. It's helping you to learn what not to tolerate, what not to settle next time, right? It's making you better. Okay. Failure, I always say failure isn't failure. Failure teaches me what not to do next. Failure helps me get one step closer to the goal, right? If my goal is to get married, I know how to identify Mr. Wrong because I'm about to, take a look at this last relationship and identify all the things that went wrong. I'm about to identify in these last few relationships, Mr. Wrong, so that I don't choose him in the future, right? So failure isn't failure. It just tells you what not to do, okay? Now let's talk about this abandonment and rejection because you said I am often reminded that he abandoned and rejected me and my son. So what you are dealing with here, hey Jay, thanks for joining us this morning. What you are dealing with here, whenever you are in a situation, whenever a woman is pregnant by a man, only for him to abandon you, reject you, and go marry another woman. I talk a lot about abandonment, but this abandonment wound is coming from, because when you're abandoned this way, that hits at your self-worth, right? It causes you to feel not good enough, right? It places you in a position where now your mind is asking the question, well, why I wasn't good enough, to get married to? I gave you a child. Why that wasn't good enough for you, right? I've been with you all these years. Why that wasn't good enough for you? It places you in that position where it hits that, it attacks your self-worth, right? So we got to begin to get understanding around the abandonment, right? Whatever, I need you, the one who sent in this question, you don't got to write the answer here, but in your quiet time, I want you to ask yourself, hey, Oscar, thanks for joining us this morning. I want you to ask yourself, get your thoughts out. Okay. What is this abandonment? How are you interpreting this abandonment, right? Because usually when we are, hey, built in fire, usually when we, like I said, been abandoned in this particular case, when you were pregnant and the man ran off and married someone else, it hits at your self-worth. So what are you telling yourself? How did you interpret that situation? How did you interpret, you know, his leaving? Did you look at it like I'm not good enough or I wasn't good enough for him? Right? You got to get down to the bottom of how you are interpreting this, because let me tell you something. You all know, before God placed me here in the God ordained marriage community, what I used to do, I used to mentor abandoned single mothers. Okay. So I'm an expert on this particular situation. Okay. What you need to know is, and this for anyone, when a man abandons his child, okay, and go run off and marry another woman, okay, that abandonment, it had nothing to do with you. It's not that you're not good enough. That abandonment and rejection has everything to do with what's going on in that man. Okay. And I know for some of you, you like that. I hear you, Tequila, but I'm not, that's not taking the pain away. You got to really understand this on a deeper level. He left because he wanted to leave and go be with that woman. He didn't leave because you wasn't a good woman to him. He didn't leave because you wasn't good enough. None of these things. He left because of what was going on in him. Okay. So we gotta do some work here with this abandonment and rejection. We got to get the right perspective. And then with rejection, it's all about how you are perceiving the situation, because he did you a favor. He did you a favor. Look at what he's doing already. He's already married, and now he's calling you, telling you, complaining about the marriage. He's doing you a favor. You didn't want that. God stepped in and said, no, I'm not allowing my daughter to have this. No, you don't deserve this, right? So this rejection was really protection. This rejection was really redirecting you to the very one who God has for you. Okay. It's all in how you see it. Okay. But again, when you're in this situation, when you were pregnant and the man chose to abandon you and for someone else, you're hurting because it hit your self-worth. It's hitting at your self-worth and self-esteem, right? So we got to start there. For some of you, you might have to go to counseling, okay, just to work through this. Others, you might have to take this to the Lord and say, God, okay, I give you this pain, this is the situation, make sense of it. And I'm gonna tell you something about God, because when you take this to the Lord, God is very direct. He's very straight to the point, and God might just tell you something similar to what he told me. He might just say, let him go. He might just say surrender, right? And in your mind, you probably thinking like, well, God, well, what does that mean? That's not taking the pain away, but God is speaking, like end results. He's telling you to let this individual go because he has something better for you. He's telling you to let this individual go because, holding on to this individual keeps you trapped in the past. Okay. It keeps you bound. It keeps you feeling like you're not good enough. So God is like, let that go so that you can step into your worth. Okay. But you got to understand, if you don't get anything from this live, understand he left because of what was going on in him. And I don't think I said it. These type of fathers, they usually leave because they don't feel worthy. They don't feel good enough. Okay. So I had to say that, okay, because again, this is something that I used to specialize in this, and I got a lot of understanding from it. Let me see what else is on here. Yes, so when we talk about how do you get your life back on track after this failed relationship, you gotta get unstuck. Okay, you got a lot of unanswered questions. This is another thing. You have a lot of unanswered questions, okay, that you need answers to from him. And now that he's the father of your child, okay, because you stated how when he comes over, I guess when he comes over to get the child, listen, take advantage of that moment. Maybe you want to, put your son in the room, turn on his, favorite cartoon show or whatever, but then sit your child's father down there and tell him like, listen, I just need an hour of your time so we could just talk about a few things, and then just go there. Ask this man the questions that are running through your mind, because that's the very thing that's going to help give you closure. This is the reason why your life isn't going forward, because you need that closure. You still have these unanswered questions. So sit him down and just talk to him and ask him, okay, why this, why that, why did you do this, whatever the case may be, and hear what he say. And here's the beauty in it: when you sit him down and you ask your child's father these questions, and when you listen to whatever he say, I hope he give you the truth. But when you listen to what he is saying back to you, you're going to learn a few things, okay? You're going to hear some things where it's going to free you. Because just like how I was saying, if you take in the mindset I wasn't good enough, and that's why he chose her and abandoned and rejected me and my son, he might just open up and tell you, no, I didn't feel good enough for you. I felt like you deserve more. He might sit up there and tell you that. And that will free you. That will free that stronghold in your mind that's telling you you wasn't good enough. So sit him down, talk to him, and whatever questions you need answers to, go ahead and ask him those questions. Another thing, this is the last thing I recommend for you to do, because he is the father of your child. If you're not already doing it, I recommend you integrate into this co-parenting relationship the ABCs of co-parenting: agreement, boundaries, and communication. Agreement, I know everyone isn't, for child support, but usually when you go for child support, they will establish a parenting agreement. Okay. If you don't have any type of parenting agreement in place, and this man just popping up, whenever he felt like getting his child, that's a no. You need an agreement. You need an agreement, stating these are the days and times when you're going to come pick up your son. Okay, this is how we deal with them. When you get out of this relationship with this man, okay, we need to establish a parenting agreement. Okay, what days and times would you like to come see your son so I can have him ready for you? Okay, after that, we move into boundaries. We need co-parenting boundaries here. Now, you gave him a boundary when he tried to complain to you about his marriage. Okay, but now we got to move into the co-parenting boundaries. Okay, and again, this is when you only talking to him and dealing with him when it pertains to the child. Okay, and then we need communication. Okay, because y'all have to communicate because you have a son together. So you got to take a look at how is he communicating with you. If he's lashing out, cursing, you got to put a stop to that, and you got to teach him how to talk to you, how to communicate with you. Okay, we need effective, clear communication here in this co-parenting relationship. When you start like learning the lesson, giving yourself closure, and then treating this relationship with your child's father, it's simply for what it is. This is a co-parenting relationship now. When you treat it this way, now you're able to move your life forward. Okay. So that is my advice and recommendation. Yeah, you got to go through these steps. Learn the lesson. That's the big one. And help yourself get this closure by, approaching him and sitting him down and just saying, hey, I would like to talk to you about a few things. Get it off your chest so that you can begin to move forward. You now have the answers to whatever questions that are going through your mind. Okay. And then also make sure you are dealing with him appropriately. We are co-parenting now. Okay. You know, so that is my advice and recommendation. I'm gonna open this up for a short Q&A. If you all have a question, go ahead and post it below. Right. Sylvester said there's no potential spouse. That's right. It's not. Because think about with Adam, um, God put him to sleep and, made Eve from his rib. He didn't present to Adam 50 other women. It was just Eve. He was like, here you go. I made her suitable for you, Adam. And that's how God is doing with us. He got our spouses are suitable for us. And so it's only one. Hey, daughter of a king, Pam. Thanks for joining. Oh, that's great. Bill for Fire. She said she wrote a song about being ghosted. It brought healing. Yeah. Yeah, healing, that comes when we help ourselves get clarity around, wherever the confusion is at. We help ourselves get closure. Even though I was saying, for her to go and sit him down and talk to him, he might not even be open to talking to her. And if that is the case, then you still got to help yourself. You got to give yourself the correct answer that's going to help you begin to move forward, in your life. And also, just getting a different perspective concerning the situation we're dealing with here. Because, like I said, whenever you abandon and rejected, that has a lot to do with the individual who has done the abandonment and rejecting. It has a lot to do with what's going on in that person versus you. You okay? If a man tell his church he's single, does this mean for sure he removes strange woman, as the Bible calls her? Now, if he announced to his church that he's single, he's doing the opposite. He's actually letting them know, I'm single, so come on. He's doing the opposite. You don't really gotta announce that. Think about it. If I'm single, right, and I'm preparing for my spouse, right, even if he know who you are or not, I don't gotta announce that to my church. He announced that because he's looking for, what woman in the church is about to come for him. He's looking for that ego boost. Okay. He's looking for whoever gonna speak that language with him. It could also mean the strange woman is removed, which is why now he put himself back on the market and he's letting everyone in that church know, I'm single, come get me. So, and that's an ego move. He's looking to get that ego stroke. Thank you for your ministry. So, a part of hearing God's voice, how do we know that this person is our ordained spouse? Okay, wait a minute. It can be so easy to get lost in our own hopes instead of following God's plan. So, the way how you know that this is your ordained spouse, the very first way how you know, because you heard God tell you. You heard God say this is your spouse. However way God communicated to you. He could have did it. He could have communicated in an audible voice. He could have showed you in a dream. He could have had your spouse reveal it to you. Um, have a way. Okay, that's number one. Another way how you know this is your spouse, because look at how the enemy is attacking, like trying to keep you and your spouse from coming together. That's a big clear indicator that this is your spouse. Number three, take a look at whatever dreams God has given you concerning your spouse. So if when you just met your spouse, or whenever God reveals to you that this person is your spouse, if you just start having a whole lot of dreams about this person, take a look at it. Begin to learn how to interpret your dreams so that you can begin to understand the message God is trying to communicate to you. Okay. Because God's not going to just be giving you random dreams about just random people. It's for a reason. Okay. Um, it's a lot of things. You could look at y'all purpose if you are in purpose. If the two of you are in purpose, okay, does y'all purpose complement one another? If so, that's another clue that this is your God ordained spouse. Um, it's a lot, but the big one that I like to look for is, what did God say? Did God tell you that that's your spouse? Did he, how is God confirming that this person is your spouse? That's what I look at when in my one-on-one session. Melissa said, I wrote myself an apology letter to heal it. It helps and was honest about everything I allowed and why I allowed it, because how I felt about myself. That's right. Yes, I call that a forgiveness letter. Yeah, I like how you named it apology letter. Right. And that really does help, because think about anger, right? Think about depression. Depression is pent up anger. We just holding it in, right? And so when we begin, because that anger is trying to come out the body. This is why God tell us to forgive, keep your heart pure. Because when we hold on to that anger, the bitterness, the resentment, it's not supposed to be in our body. So, but when we hold on to it, now it turns into high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, right? Cancer. It turns into all of these things, heart disease, right? Because it's trying to make its way out of our body. So one of the ways how we can help assist these emotions, the negative emotions to release out of our body is like Melissa said, write yourself an apology letter. Like how I was saying, I do a forgiveness letter. You know, this is how we are pushing those negative emotions out. So if everyone has only one suitable spouse, what if that person marries a counterfeit first? What? Hold on. Oh, what happens? Okay, I was like, huh? So what happened to the person who was supposed to be the God ordained spouse? Okay, so let me read that again. Yeah. So that's my life. I was married. I married a counterfeit. I didn't even know that God had chose a spouse for me back then. But here's the thing: if so hold up. So if the one who God revealed to you is your God ordained spouse, and they go off and marry a counterfeit, number one, everyone must begin to understand that when God reveals to you this is your spouse, you also have to understand and know that there's an appointed time for the marriage to come together. Okay, just like how when God promised Abraham and Sarah a son, it was at an appointed time. But you see how Sarah got it her own way and created Ishmael through Hagar. Prodigals, they do the same thing. They get in their own way and go off and marry counterfeit. But I could speak from experience. God has a way in letting you don't even got to be a prodigal. He has a way of letting the spouse know, I didn't choose this marriage for you. He has his own little way. Okay. You will see the hand of God isn't on this marriage. You won't see any fruit being produced from it. You will see the opposite. Okay. And so it would be left up to that person to decide whether they want to stay in this mess, whether they want to, commit to an unhappy life, or do they want to get out of it and get back in right standing with God, right? So I chose to get out of it and get back in right standing with God, okay? But also know, like I was saying, there's an appointed time for these marriages, okay? So you continue to stand, you continue to be led by the instructions of the Lord. He will guide you and lead you, okay? Yes, I believe we can marry the wrong person. I just gave my testimony, because see, this is another thing that's not taught, you know. It's really not. This world focus more on compatibility, Oh, as long as y'all get along, you know, you like how they look, you like how they like how you look, y'all have a lot of things in common, y'all great, y'all can get along. So yeah, this can work. No. That's how we end up marrying wrong, okay? Because it's all about the God ordained marriage is all about kingdom, right? And I have to, when these God ordained marriages, God is looking, he put us together for suitability, okay? And suitability is for us to fulfill God's specific purpose, okay, placed on our life, right? And so we don't go off of, oh, we compatible. We go off of we're suitable, okay? We don't go off of that, oh, they look good. No, 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 no. Let me look at your heart, okay? Because man look at the outside, God looks at the heart, okay? We looking at, are we walking on one accord, right? Out here in this world, they usually not walking on one accord, okay? But as long as they look good, okay, long as it's feeling good to me, we're gonna go ahead and do this thing and get married. No, in the kingdom, are we walking on one accord? Okay, are we equally yoked? Do we have the same vision? Are we headed in the same direction? Do we believe in the same God? Okay, you know, but you can't marry wrong. What do you mean minor marriage? Like if they're just a minor and they get married? I don't believe in that. Mm-mm. I think it's a setup for failure. You're welcome, Jay. Yeah. Can counterfeits be anyone that is trying to destroy your God ordained relationship? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the enemy. Um, yeah, yeah. That's the enemy. That's whoever trying to destroy your God ordained relationship. It's the enemy. So God really just exposed the enemy to you, so that, excuse me, so that you know who they are, and you don't, if they family and friends, you don't tell them anything. If it's a stranger, now you know who the enemy is, and you can steer clear away from them. Why did you marry your counterfeit? If you marry someone, no matter what, won't God honor the covenant? So I got married at the age of 21. I married him. I married him because I was pregnant. Okay, he married me because I was pregnant. I'm not even lying here. We got married because we were pregnant. Okay. Um, I knew, at that time in my life, I was broken. Okay, I was very broken. I wasn't healed. I wasn't even mature. Okay, and the same thing can apply to him. I believe the people around us knew we wasn't ready for marriage, but they let it go anyway. You know, um, it was something I had to go through though, because it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. Just don't rush into marriage again. Um, yeah, and I do believe God honors covenant, whether they, whether you got in that marriage with the wrong person or not. He gonna honor covenant. You know, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I had got. We were young. We were young. You know, we didn't know what we was doing. What if you pray for them? What if you pray for them, admit they aren't seeing this person, and also since he's a pastor, he won't date members, and I have heard this from him and others at his church. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't listen to a man's word. I look at their action. I look at what they're doing. So, um, if he's saying he's single and his action is reflecting he's single, then you believe his action. Yeah, he'll back it up in his action. How did you know you're healed enough or the other person for marriage? Could you give examples of aligning purpose? It's funny because when I look over here at the comments, it's like it's blurry, but when I look here, it's clear. Maybe I need to look right here. Okay, how do you know you're healed enough or the other person for marriage? That has everything to do with, so it's two ways how I can answer this. Number one, um, if you're currently in a divine separation dealing with a prodigal, God's not going to bring them back until they reach a level of healing. Okay, so find contentment in just knowing that He's not going to send them back and they still brokenhearted, they still trying to betray you and reject you. Nope. God's not sending that back. Okay. They gotta learn from that. They gotta grow. They gotta heal. Okay. And God is so good because He would even give you a dream. Like, let's say, because God know our heart. He know, how we get anxious and go before ourselves. He would even give you a dream showing you. You got to know how to interpret a dream though. He would even give you a dream letting you know like your spouse is still at this baby stage. So if you ever see your spouse in a dream and a baby, that might be God. You got to take the whole dream in context. That could be God trying to communicate to you, this person is still immature. It's not time yet because I see you trying to get a little impatient over there, right? So God will even give you a dream letting you know, okay, I'm still cooking this thing up. He's not ready or she's not ready. They still, because scriptures say When I was a child, I thought like a child. I talked like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish ways. So God would show us in the dream, they still a baby. I need them to put away some things. I need them to stop talking like a child. I need them to stop acting like a child. I need them to grow into becoming a man or a woman. Okay. Um, and you said, oh, and the other piece, so that was one way how I wanted to answer that. The other way how you can answer that for yourself, how do you know you're healed enough for marriage, or the other person is healed enough for marriage? This is where your standards and requirements come in place at. So, okay, like you already interacted with your prodigal. You already know, I don't like those things. I want God to change that. So that's your requirements. I'm not accepting you back until I see a change in these particular areas, right? So if they had a cold heart, I need to see a soft heart. I need to see a good heart. If they were rejecting you, I need to see acceptance, okay? I need to see you supporting me, right? You got to have your standards in place and know exactly what it is that you are looking for. The same way how you took those prayers to God and you turned, your prodigal, their challenges into a prayer point. Okay, this is what I'm looking to see when you come back. If I see the opposite, I'm not taking you back, right? So, and most people, I'm just gonna be honest, most women they're not this strong. They'll take them back any kind of way, and only for you to get hurt again. But you got to have your standards in place and know this is what I will accept and I'm not accepting. Yeah, we'll help with past dreams because he said the dream interpretation class gonna help with past dreams. Yes, because this information God has been downloading in my spirit for this month. Okay, y'all gotta understand something. I took three different dream interpretation class a couple of years ago. But God set me back down in this month of November and taught me dream interpretation entirely different way. And when I teach the class, yes, because one of the things I am going to recommend is for the things I'm teaching, you go back to them previous dreams and make sure you do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Is there a deadline to sign up for the class? So the class is wait a minute, y'all. Oh Jesus. Lord, I'm about to mess everything up over here. The class is November the 29th. So the deadline is November 29th. Okay. Because the class is starting at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So you want to hurry up and sign up before, if you can, before November 29th, because the call-in details, I'm going to send that out probably at 8 o'clock that morning. Okay. Oh, I got this cord wrapped around here. Okay, good morning. I was wondering if the enemy can also give us vision, just like how he can influence our dream, or are all dreams from God, just that sometimes he's showing the plans of the enemy? Um, uh, I never had an experience where the devil has given me visions. I never had that experience. So I'm gonna just answer that based off of my own experience. No, okay. If someone else had a different experience, go ahead and drop it in the comment section. But um are all dreams from God just that sometimes he's showing? Yeah, so our dreams come from God, the enemy, or they could be soulless dreams, okay? But you got to understand, this is why I'm hosting the dream interpretation class, because some of you, your life, it just, the enemy is just running rampant in your life, okay? He messing with your finances, he's messing with your marriage, your God ordained marriage. He's attacking you with your family and friends, and you don't know why. You don't. You don't know why. It has everything to do with what is happening in your dreams. Okay. The Bible says, "My people perish for a lack of knowledge." Because we don't understand the spirit realm, and because we don't understand our dreams and how to interpret them, the enemy, we giving the enemy permission to come into our life and do these things. Go ahead and steal my husband. Go ahead and steal my family. Go ahead and touch my money, because we don't know these things, right? So this is really why I put together the dream interpretation class, to bring awareness to these things, okay? Did God also help you understand your dreams by journaling them and going into prayer about them? I can always see what they mean pretty good, but not until I start journaling them. Yeah, he did prompt me. So, like I said, 2, 3 years ago, I took like 3 different dream interpretation class. So I had that information, but this year in April, he started telling me to journal my dream. I have a good memory, so I can remember probably 70% of my dreams, but he did tell me to start journaling my dreams. Now, the way how God teaches me, without me having to go back to my old material from the dream interpretation class, the way how God teaches me dream interpretation, he give me that experience. He give me the experience. So in my dreams, he taught me how to identify monitoring spirits. He taught me, how to identify covenant. You know, he taught me these things. He taught me what it really means when you are being fed in your dream, or given something to drink, or even having sex. Right? He taught me these things. It's a lot of things. He give me experiences. That's how he teaches me with everything. He'll put me in the experience, and I hate going through this stuff sometimes, but I come out with the knowledge and revelation. But he did have me start journaling my dreams. And I think I know why, because when God speaks, when he gives you a dream, sometimes he's not always done talking. If we pay for the class and we miss it due to work, will there be a replay? Yes. Yep. There will be a replay, and you will have lifetime access to the replay. Yep. Yep. So again, hey Lily, um, just head over to godordainedmarriages.com/dream class to sign up for the class. Yep. And then another thing too, this whole month of November, when God taught me a different way on dreams, he taught me also the basically the missing piece to these God ordained marriages. And I was like, wow, okay, so I know exactly what we're dealing with here. Once God reveals to you who your God ordained spouse is, do you always have dreams because God speaks to me different from dreams? No, see, you might not be a dreamer. You might not be a dreamer. God can speak to you in vision. Like, number one, we got to identify what are the ways God speaks to me, right? And then that is the way God will begin to communicate to you. But also, when God began to reveal who your God ordained spouse is, I'm gonna tell you all this. So, because I know a lot of you listen to a lot of prophets here on YouTube, and I'm just speaking from experience here. Yes, God gives me a lot of dreams, and God also give me vision, and God also, ever since birth, I know God's voice through my senses, right? I sense things, okay, and also with peace. But another way God has identified himself to me, this is what God does with me. I don't watch a lot of prophets. I probably got 2 good prophets. I watch Tiffany Montgomery. That's my girl. I love watching her. And it's another one. I ain't gonna say her name. God will give them, he will tell that prophet I'm watching specific information about my life. He gave one prophet a dream of something that happened in my life last year. And God, he does that because he's letting me know I'm about to use this person you're watching to speak to you. So that tells me keep watching this prophet, okay? Because God has already identified to me he's going to use this person to speak to me regarding a situation. So I don't watch a whole lot of prophet because that ain't how God is training me in the season. But God, he don't have to just speak to you in dreams. It could be a number of way. It could be through numbers. It could be through your past. It could be through kids. Yeah. So just identify, which ways God speak to me. What if your kingdom spouse is not trying to make a move sexually, but in the past they always had, and my prayers have been that they wouldn't make a move? When I see him, he set a boundary in his area. So that was evidence. Yep. That was evidence. And oh, it's so much. Y'all can hear my brain. It just be flowing with ideas. So that was evidence, God, showing you that your prayers, is moving according to your prayer. But also that's evidence that your kingdom spouse is now seeing you. It's like the scales come falling off. Not, built in fire, we do our one-on-one sessions together. I do believe your spouse already knew that you were his wife, okay? But something in him, before you start praying, something in him still had him operating, with that grown boy mentality, right? But since you've been praying and now he's placing boundaries in this area with the sex, I see the boundary as, because God been correcting me and dealing with me concerning you, I'm seeing more of your value. I'm taking, what we have more serious, and I don't want to mess it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and place a boundary right here, okay? So that I don't mess up what God been speaking to me about, okay, concerning you. So yeah, so that was evidence, and he's coming into seeing more of your value as his wife. So that might be encouragement dreams, Lily, depending on whatever type of dream, God is showing you. She said, most of the time I get dreams about God ordained spouse when I'm weary or about to give up. So that could be God just coming in like, look, don't give up. Cause you see this, like, this is what I'm about to do. Okay. And your spouse, don't give up. Don't get weary. Okay. Um, yeah. Don't be moved by whatever you see in your prodigal spouse doing or not doing. Don't be moved by that. Cassandra say that's you. Okay. I wasn't sure like if he could give us vision to kind of throw us off and hang on to the wrong person. Nah, defined by faith, your first step is to get understanding and acceptance if you're dealing with a prodigal. You got to understand what it means to deal with a prodigal and then accept that I'm dealing with a prodigal. Like this is prodigal behavior that I'm dealing with here so that I don't drift into thinking this is the devil sending the wrong person. And then here's the thing: when the devil sending you the wrong person, he's not going to encourage you to leave them. He does the opposite. He try to encourage you to stay in there. Like go ahead, you know. But no, you might be standing for the right one. You just looking at that prodigal behavior, and it's like you probably like, God, I don't think God chose this for me. And God didn't. God didn't choose no prodigal. He chose the one he's going to restore. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, we got to get understanding behind what is a prodigal, how they show up, how they behave, how the enemy operates in them, and don't be moved by it. Don't allow, because the devil will use them prodigal to try to move you out of your position. Don't even be moved by it. Release that prodigal to the Lord. Stop looking at them. Not even checking for them. Like they're prodigal. I take the mindset the prodigal don't even deserve my time or attention. You know, that's how I look at it. Evidence, and God has been taking my pain. I'm not even mad at my kingdom spouse. I actually understand and accept why he is the way he is. Yeah. So I can keep praying for him. Prayer. Yeah. And that's what God is getting us. That's what he's trying to move us into a level of understanding. Like don't take these things personal. Even the hurt, like even the rejection, even the betrayal, because, and I'm just speaking from experience, that rejection and betrayal, it pushed you closer to the Lord. It pushed some of you into your destiny, into your purpose, and it's pushing you into the promised land where God is going to use you to save your whole entire family. But if it wasn't for that rejection or that betrayal, you probably would have still been back there where you was at, going in circles, probably entertaining Ray Ray and them, you know. So, there's a blessings in everything. The Bible say, all things work out for your good. Yeah. So, any last question before we log off? I'm hungry. I haven't had anything to eat yet. I'm getting hungry, y'all. And thank you all to those of you who have already purchased your copy of my book, God Ordained Marriage. Those who purchased the paperback copy, I should be getting the order in the end of this month. And once I get the order in, I will send it out. I will ship out your book. So, all right, I don't see any more questions. We're going to go ahead and bring this live to an end. Sylvester say, how your day been? It's been okay. It's just getting started. Y'all know I'm not a morning person. I stay up all night long. I'm not a morning person. I'm only up because I had to drop the kids off. But thanks for asking. How's your mom, Sylvester? Sylvester, your boy is in the group. I don't know if you know it. He's in the group. After more than 12 years, I still regularly dream of my first boyfriend. It used to put me off as if it was a sign to go back. He is married now. Nah. That might be he married. Keep moving forward. Um that what is I'm trying to say? Soul ties. We can have soul tie dreams, dreams that reveal and we still have soul ties to individual. So just make sure you breaking off them soul ties, break off that divorce the spirit spouse. Yeah. And also take control of your thoughts because like I said, we can have soulless dreams, it's coming from our soul, whatever we're thinking about, or whatever we still haven't gotten over, it will show up in our dreams. So make sure you broke you broke the soul tie, you divorced the spirit spouse, and you heal from the past, you close those doors so that the exits can stop popping up. And then pay attention to what they're doing because just pay attention, because they could be monitoring spirits, they can be doing witchcraft on you. Is the promised land in the resurrection stage because I'm relocating? Yeah. Yeah. I call it harvest. I call it, the promised land is in your harvest season. Um, just think about Joseph in the Bible when he became in charge over Egypt. He was in his promised land. That was his harvest season. He was reaping everything. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Oh, wow, you in Germany? Wow. It's nighttime? I didn't know that. Yep, MCA here and there. Okay, that's great that God is helping your mother. Okay, great. All right. Okay, you all. So you all enjoy the rest of your morning or night or afternoon, depending on whatever time it is for you all. Don't forget, like I said, subscribe to the channel, like this video. And if you haven't already signed up for the dream interpretation class, head over to godordainedmarriages.com/dream class and sign up. All right. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you all soon. Take care.